Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. It's Mr. Beckern here saying good morning. We enter week 3 here, and we just once again want to take a moment here to continue some of the routines that we have here at Emmanuel. I'll spare you from the Monday morning singing of the national anthem. We'll continue that once we get back together here. But I want to recognize some birthdays here, as I know many of you have been celebrating birthdays over these last couple of weeks here. We had Luke and Colin on the 19th, Kiara, Jesse, and Brendan on the 20th. Matthew and Korea on the 22nd, Ethan on the 24th, Holly on the 25th, Benjamin on the 26th, Daniel and Carmen on the 27th, Brett on the 28th, Sarah on the 29th, and Hayden as well. Celebrating birthday tomorrow, we have Micah and Jamie on the 31st, and then rounding out the week here, Brooklyn celebrating a birthday on April 2nd here, and Micaiah on April the 4th. Wishing you a happy birthday. I'm sure it's one that you will never forget. As an encouragement to you this morning as well, I just want to read a devotional with you. Sky Jafani has a devotion where he speaks about the illusion of activity. He talks about how this idea of quantum entanglement, this idea that on a universal scale, the action of a particle can instantaneously affect another particle, even without direct connection through the action of one. It's something that's baffled scientists for many years, as they can't really explain the how and the why of why this occurs. But going further to this, Sky talks about how many of us have a bias toward action. We want to directly affect our world, improve it, solve problems, and do God's will on earth as it is in heaven. But during the COVID-19 pandemic, our ability to directly act has been severely restrained. How do we love your neighbor if you must practice social distancing from your neighbor? How can we change the world if we're quarantined away from the world? This unexpected Sabbath may remind us that outward activity is not the only way to affect the world. There's another powerful but mysterious force available to us: prayer. With our modern North American emphasis on direct action, many of us have dismissed the value of prayer, or we see it as merely a devotional practice that may benefit us, but doesn't actually impact the world itself. This pandemic is uncovering our lack of imagination. Like Einstein's dismissal of quantum entanglement as spooky, we too often ignore the power of prayer because it doesn't fit our bias toward outward measurable actions. Blaise Pascal, a 16th century mathematician and philosopher, saw it differently. He said, God instituted prayer in order to lend his creatures the dignity of causality. In other words, prayer is the power by which we participate with God in changing the world, even when we are locked away from it. So during this time, we're hoping that you are engaging in prayer, that you're praying for your neighbor, you're praying for the world, you're praying for family and friends far and near. And at this time as well, I just want to encourage you with a passage from the book of John, where Jesus says to his disciples, I've told you these things, so that in me you may have peace. In this world you'll have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world. At this time as well, wherever you are, would you just please join me with the Lord's Prayer? Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. And give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. And so with that, I'm also going to leave you with just a song that may be an encouragement to you throughout this week. It's called Graves into Gardens by Elevation Worship. And if that at all is an encouragement to you, do take a listen to it. So with that, Mr. Beckering is saying goodbye, and I just wish you all a great week, and we will see you again very, very soon.